tons of people ask me about what it's like buying new construction in Charlotte and what options are there. Buying a resale house is not for everyone, so new construction can be the best opportunity depending on what your needs are. Be sure to tune into this video where we're gonna talk about everything you need to know with the new construction world here in Charlotte. Whether you're from New York, California, or Florida, just to name a few of the places that most of our buyers are moving from, you are gonna want to know who the major players are in the new construction space in Charlotte, North Carolina. So be sure to stick around because we actually are gonna be meeting with a couple different builders and their sales reps to talk about different options that you can get when you buy new construction, different inventory levels that we're seeing in the new construction space, and why having a real estate agent is super important when you're buying new construction. So be sure to stick around for that. Charlotte is one of the fastest growing cities in the country right now, and because of that, new construction is booming. And we have a lot of different areas that you can look for new construction, from Lake Norman area all the way down to South End, and as far south as Ballantyne and some parts of South Carolina too. And because of the insane demand and the amount of people that have been moving here every day, you are gonna see there's a lot of new construction opportunities in all of these areas. So when you're looking at new construction homes, you need to understand where your best bang for your buck is depending on your wants and your needs. Condos are typically gonna be a very luxurious, very urban option. Townhomes, pretty similar, maybe not as luxurious depending on where you are and what the budget is, but a very urban lifestyle with the townhomes. And as you go further out from the city, single-family homes are gonna be a great option, especially if you want more land, you want a bigger house, maybe something that's a little more luxurious. That's gonna be a phenomenal option. Now, when it comes to what your wants and needs are, you need to think through, do you want the urban lifestyle and to be able to just lock up and be in a secured building or maybe a secured community? Do you need to have a garage? Do you need to have multiple parking spaces? What would make your lifestyle convenient and easy and comfortable in your new home? And all of those things are gonna go into the deciding factors as to whether or not you buy a condo in an urban location or a townhome, which some of the townhomes may be 3 or 4 stories high, which means your primary bedroom's on the 3rd floor. So if you're okay with steps, that's a good option for you. If you don't want steps, maybe look for a 2-story townhome, which they're rare, but they do exist here, or maybe go towards the condo or the single family market. So if you're looking for something bigger, more land, a little nicer, maybe you go out further and find a single family home. And if you want something more transient and urban with that lifestyle, the condos and townhomes are absolutely where you need to look. This is a townhome in the South Park area. Like, you get a shower that's bigger than most people's closets. So the fact that you can actually get something like this, and sure, we're on the 3rd floor, but this is a house that's actually built by Hallmark Building, and it's sold by Olivia Ghilardi with eXp Realty. And I'll tell you what, that shower every day using that would be awesome. This video is gonna go into some of the things that I knew nothing about 10 years ago when I moved to Charlotte, and chances are you probably don't know anything about either. We also are gonna have another video that goes into how far your money can go and what the best bang for your buck is at $500,000. So be sure to go check that video out too. So when it comes to things to look out for, one of them is gonna be hidden fees, or honestly, just understanding what you're getting for the price of the home and if it's gonna change at all. Because some builders will actually fully spec out the homes, which you'll hear Ryan and Stefan both talk about what that means. And then some of them will allow you to make it as custom as you want. What that means is if you get a home that's fully spec'd out, chances are that price of the home is not changing. So the price that you're seeing being advertised is the price you're gonna pay. If it's a home where you may be customizing some things and you go to a design center like Toll or Copper, the price is going to change. And so what you need to really be on the lookout for is if that price that's being advertised is the actual end price. Is that going to be the price that you pay at the closing table, or is it not? What we'll see is if you do have to make customizations or pick different options from a design center, sometimes it may be 1 to 5% in an increase in purchase price. Sometimes it's 20% increase in purchase price. So here's the pro tip. When you're at the model and you're talking to the sales rep, if you get to go to a design center or if you get to pick anything out, the question to ask is, what is the percentage over this price that you see most buyers spending in upgrades? Every community will be different, every builder will be different, every sales rep will have a different answer for that, but you need to understand what you're getting yourself into, because there's a big difference between going to the design center and spending an extra 1 or 2% on an $800,000 home. I mean, that's only $8,000 to $16,000. If you're spending an extra 20%, I mean, that's an extra $160,000 worth of upgrades. So you really need to understand what you're about to set yourself up for in the design center, if that's an option. So we're standing here at Iron Creek, which is right outside of Uptown Charlotte, with my good friend Ryan Straight with Toll Brothers. He's gonna show us around this model home and talk about some of the different neighborhoods that Toll Brothers is working on. And I'll tell you what, I mean, we've done a couple deals together in the South End area. They build a good product. Ryan's a great guy to work with, and they're gonna be in incredible locations around Charlotte. If you're walking around with someone and they're between new construction and resale, like, what do you have them kind of think about with regards to each one and the differences or some of the nuances between new construction or resale?
So there's a lot of things to consider, because I mean, there's great options either way, but the reason somebody would go with new construction, it's new. You're not taking on anybody else's problems or anything that's wrong with the house that you might not catch. The other part of that is you're gonna get exactly what you want. So if you're going to my design studio and you buy a house and you're like, you know, this is great, everything's perfect, I guarantee it's not. If you built it from scratch, I can promise you would have done at least one thing different. Yeah. And that one thing could end up being very important to you. So that's one of the reasons why people build, because they get what they want.
I feel like the other one would be warranties.
That's a very important part of it too. So our warranty is fantastic. So, and we handle it internally. It's not farmed out to a third party. So that's the other part of it. You're not getting any problems on a house that you might not catch. That home is brand new. Everything is going to be covered through our warranty program. So a lot of it is peace of mind. So everything is brand new. There's no wear and tear on it. You're the first person to live in that house.
Yeah, so it's like if I move in and stand on the countertop here and it breaks, like, warranty can fix that.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. All right, so there's a limit.
There is a limit.
Okay, all right, that's good to know.
We'll call it within reason, right?
Sure.
So, yeah.
But I do think that that's the other thing with a lot of buyers is they like new construction because of the warranties and being able to just have that peace of mind.
They do, especially kind of like you were pointing out with a lot of first-time home buyers. They have not been in a home that they've owned before and had to do that maintenance and upkeep. Yeah. So again, just the peace of mind of not having to worry about that stuff because it's all brand new. And in addition to that, during the build process, our construction team, which is phenomenal, they do a great job of educating, especially first-time home buyers. This is how you live in the house. These are the things to maintain. These are the things to look out for. It's right before closing, you know how we do it. It's the new home orientation, basically teaching the buyer, this is your home, this is how you live here.
Right. Here's where the main water shutoff is. Here's what to do if your garbage disposal gets messed up, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be a hang-up sometimes too.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, I've never done this before, what do I do?
Yeah, I mean,
what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, exactly. What do I do with my hands? Like, what are these things in the returns? How do I change an air filter? Stuff like that. So, yeah, the construction team does a fantastic job of teaching people how to do that.
So another hidden cost that you're going to want to be on the lookout for is lot premiums. It should go without saying that if you have a better lot, a more desirable lot, it's going to cost more money. And so the builders will charge you based on the demand that they think they're going to have for a specific lot. A great example is this townhome community that we're in with Toll Brothers. I mean, this one faces the skyline. So if you get a skyline view, chances are that townhome is going to be more expensive. You may not have the specific lot premium that you're paying, but that will be reflected in the overall purchase price. If you're in a single family community, some of the more desirable lots are the ones that are at the end of a cul-de-sac, or backing up to trees or wooded areas. Ones that are super private or obviously larger lots are going to have higher lot premiums. So be on the lookout for different lot premiums and how things are going to be priced based on the amount of demand they think they're going to have for that specific house on that lot. Some of them are going to be more desirable than others, and that's where you're going to see that reflected in pricing. A good agent will be able to help walk you through what they think is going to be super important to future buyers and what is also going to be something that will be detrimental to you selling in the future or something that won't matter, right? You need to understand if you pick a specific home on a specific lot, are you setting yourself up for having to sell it at a discount in the future or not? Because builders won't sell it at a discount, but you may end up having to. And that's where having a good lot, it may be worth the extra 10 grand to be able to get the one townhome that has a direct skyline view that you can see. Or it may be worth the extra $15,000 to have the larger lot at the end of a cul-de-sac that's not only bigger, but also private. So think through these things, and yes, I understand you're spending a lot of money when you're buying a house and when you're building a house, but it is so important to take into consideration those little things that you can never change once you're in the home. So don't be shy when it comes to lot premiums and make sure that you're taking that into consideration. The other thing is going to be HOA dues and all the construction that's going on. The HOA dues are going to be really important to find out A, how much they are, B, how frequently you have to pay them, and C, what you get for that. The last piece that a lot of people don't think to ask about is capital contribution fees, because with new construction, someone has to build the reserves for the HOA, and lucky you, it's every single one of you that are buying a new construction home. So some communities have capital contribution fees, which is a one-time fee that you pay at closing to help build the reserves for the HOA. Some of them have capital contribution fees that are $250 or $500, and some of them have them where they're $5,000. So you need to understand what the capital contribution fee is going to be so that you know what that cost will be for you at closing. Obviously, it goes without saying, the HOA dues are going to be important because paying $300 a month versus $50 a month is a pretty material difference. But if you're paying $300 a month, which, you know, a lot of these townhomes are going to have higher HOA dues, typically you get more with that. You'll probably get sewer, you may get water, you'll get trash pickup. Some of them you may get internet or cable, and sometimes even in some of these communities and single family as well, you may even get lawn care. And getting lawn care included in your HOA dues is awesome. I can tell you from personal experience, I used to have it, and it was incredible because then you never have to worry about mowing your own lawn because the HOA is taking care of having all of them mowed. And it also is just nice because not only do you not have to worry about it, but everyone's yard looks great. And lastly, when it comes to HOA dues, the overarching theme is the more you get, the more you're going to pay, or the more you pay, the more you're going to get. If you're in a townhome community and you have higher HOA dues, that might mean you get internet, or there might be a dog walking area or a dog park. You may have some other different community features. In some of the older townhome communities, they have pools and clubhouses. So all of those things can go towards your HOA dues, and just make sure you understand not only what you're paying, but also what you're getting for it. And then lastly, that hidden secret is, what is the capital contribution fee? If you're buying new construction, you're definitely going to want to know what that is. Before we continue, I'd like to give you all a warm welcome to the Living in Charlotte channel. We're here with the top relocation team in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we provide videos every week for you to understand the ins and outs of the Charlotte real estate market. So be sure to take some notes and don't be afraid to pause the video as you go. Now, on the flip side of hidden fees, you are going to see builders offer incentives. A lot of these incentives are going to become even better for you as a buyer as we head into more of a buyer's market. Some of the most common incentives to be on the lookout for are closing costs or credit from the builder. A lot of them haven't really liked giving out fridges and washers and dryers and blinds and things like that lately, but a lot of these builders are offering very aggressive and very buyer-friendly incentives. Now, the catch with that is typically you're going to have to use the preferred lender, preferred closing attorney, preferred title company, whatever it may be that the builder wants to work with. And why is that? That's because the builders have a specific amount of margin that they can work with when they're selling homes. And they don't want to just reduce the price, because if a builder reduces the price early for you to buy it, they have to work their way all the way back up to keep selling homes at higher prices down the road. Builders will partner with lenders and attorneys and people who do have a little more margin to play with, so they can offer you aggressive incentives. The big thing you need to make sure you understand is that if you work with the preferred lender, or if you don't, will the builder still provide that incentive? Some builders will, some will not. Some will also make sure that they're super flexible with you if a closing date gets pushed out. Like, here's a great example. So say that you're set to close in June of 2025, And then you get ready to sell your house to move into this new one, and then closing gets pushed to August of 2025. And then not only do you have to change your movers, you have to change all kinds of utilities again, you have to fix the problems with selling your home that may be delayed now because of buying this new one, and your rate lock might have expired, and that could cost you more money to extend your rate lock for your interest rate on the new house. If you're not working with the builder's preferred lender, then typically they tell you, well, sorry, that sucks. We didn't mean to be delayed, but it happens. But if you're working with the builder's preferred lender, they may say the same thing and then go, well, let us know how much it costs to do that and we'll cover it. Or we'll have our lender cover it. Or we'll have our lender waive the fee. Whatever it may be. They're gonna be a little bit more flexible with you. Now, the thing to think about with using a preferred lender for the builder is they may not be as good as your preferred lender. They may not have a relationship with you already. They may not be incentivized the same way that your preferred lender would be. But if they're gonna offer you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 towards your closing costs, that's serious money. So make sure you're doing your research, talking to the different lenders when you're buying new construction. And on that note, I can't stress this enough, make sure that you don't do anything or you understand what could happen if you don't use the builder's preferred lender, because you still want to make sure you're able to get that credit. My name is Andy Griesinger. My team and I get calls, texts, emails, and DMs from people like you every day who are thinking about moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. And whether you're looking to move here in a week from now, a month from now, a year or 2 years from now, whatever it is, we would absolutely love to help and we would love to hear from you. Now, if this is your first time on our Living in Charlotte channel, be sure to subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know everything there is to know about the Charlotte, North Carolina real estate market. So when you're buying a new construction home, you need to take into consideration the delays and the timelines. The time frame or timeline that the builder will give you is really going to be heavily dependent on how custom the home is and how big the home is. And with that, there are going to be a lot of delays. It could be for anything. On the front end of the build process, you're going to run into delays likely with permitting or weather, because you can't pour a foundation if it's pouring down raining. And you also need to make sure that the ground is dry enough, which means if it does rain, you get delayed a few days. So there's a lot of delays that can happen on the front end. Now, further into the build process, some of the delays that you may run into would be things like the wrong flooring showing up, or maybe a countertop shows up and it's broken, or the wrong appliances. Like anything you could think of that could go wrong might go wrong. So be prepared for that. It could even be something as simple as the plumber who is working on the entire project or the entire community is sick or on vacation or had a family emergency, and then you get delayed by a couple weeks. And if the plumber gets delayed by a couple weeks, that pushes back the HVAC guy who may not be able to come out a couple weeks from now. So then you're having to wait a couple more weeks for him. And then if they get pushed out, then maybe the electrician has to get pushed out too. So there's a lot of little nuances with the build process, and it's a process in every sense of the word. So make sure that you are prepared for delays. If a builder tells you it's going to be ready at a certain time, just know that it may be a little bit after that. If it's a home where you're not picking anything and the builder is doing everything from design to structural options and you name it, then you probably won't run into as many delays. But if you're picking all kinds of custom stuff and you want one specific cabinet that's not super common, it could delay things. And if there's tons of different trades that are coming in and out of here, you are at the mercy of them. You're at the mercy of the county inspectors. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and there's a lot of people that are involved in this, and that can create delays. Some builders will negotiate and some will not, and that's something you need to take into consideration when you're buying new construction, and you just need to understand what to expect. If a builder, look, think about it. Put yourself in the builder's shoes. If you're at the beginning of a project or the beginning of a community, a lot of builders want to build momentum and they want to get some track record and get some sales going. So they're going to be more negotiable. In the middle of the project, they might be less negotiable because they already have a proven track record. They already have 10 of the 20 contracts that they're looking for. They already have sales, right? And so in the middle of the community, chances are the builders are not going to be nearly as negotiable as the beginning or the end. And at the end of the community, that's when they're really gonna get negotiable, because they might only have 1 or 2 left that they just need to sell to get out of that neighborhood. And if they can get out of that neighborhood, they can get all of their capital back, and they can use that to start buying more projects. So make sure you actually think about where the builder is in the process and where they are in the development of the neighborhood that you're thinking about buying. Now, while we're right here, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Olivia Gallardi, a good friend of mine and fellow EXP agent here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Hallmark Building for letting us showcase this awesome home, actually luxury duet, on the corner of Fieldbrook and Chedworth. Because of how spread out this city is, one thing that we've noticed is a lot of our buyers have heard about a specific neighborhood or maybe a specific street, and their dream home is situated right on that street. And it may not be possible to find that exact home on that street. So one of the things that our team has done, and I personally did, was I invested in one of the most high-tech artificial intelligence tools to help you narrow down exactly where we might be able to find some homes that may not be on the market yet with sellers who are willing to sell. If it ends up not being the perfect house for you, do you have to buy it? No, you don't. But it's one of the many tools that sets our team apart from everyone else in all of Charlotte, North Carolina. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop on a Zoom call, pull up a map, and go through the specific neighborhoods and streets that are gonna fit your needs. And more importantly, we're gonna cross off all the ones that just simply won't be a fit. One other thing to make sure you're asking about when you're looking at new construction, whether you ask your agent or you're asking the builder sales rep about, is warranties. Every new construction home is going to come with some sort of warranty. Some are better than others. Not all warranty is created equal. You are going to notice that most builders offer a full 1-year warranty, and then some on top of that are going to offer 2 or 5-year mechanical warranties and then a 10 or 15-year structural warranty. On top of that, some builders will actually do a 2-week or a 3-week walkthrough after you close, so that way you can get moved in and make sure you didn't miss anything in your final walkthrough. They're also gonna do a 1-year blue tape walkthrough or nail pop walkthrough. So when you're living in the home, they wanna see how it settles over an entire year with 4 seasons, which luckily we have all 4 here. They wanna see how the home is going to settle, which is why they wait a full year to come do that walkthrough. So be on the lookout for the 1-year warranty, the 2 or 5-year mechanical warranty, and then, or craftsmanship warranties, and then the 10 or 15-year structural warranties. And there's a lot of different nuances between each of those. So you're gonna wanna make sure that not only do you understand how long they are, but you also wanna know what comes with that, and more importantly, what doesn't. Because if something happens, you wanna make sure that you are aware of what's covered and what's not. So when it comes to finding new construction, location is more important than anything else. And why is that? Because you want to make sure that you're protecting your long-term value and your appreciation potential. And so what are some of the things to look out for when you're looking at a specific location? Well, you can either buy a house that's in the middle of everything, like these Copper Builders homes. They've got them right on Fairview Road in the heart of everything in South Park. So South Park's a very established area, and we actually have a lot of videos on South Park, so be sure to check those out. But they are in a great area because there's already so much going on here. That you have a mall, you have restaurants, you have breweries, you have tons of other residential spaces here. So that's where that kind of location can be a really good thing. The other type of location to be on the lookout for is if you're looking further out in the outskirts of the city, you need to see if there's more commercial development that's getting ready to happen there. Are they building a Publix? Is there a Harris Teeter going in? Maybe there's a hospital being built. Or are they building a Chick-fil-A and a Starbucks? Whatever it is, you wanna make sure that there's a lot of commercial development, because what happens is residential will pioneer the development that's going on, commercial will follow it, and then more residential will follow that. And if you're in at the very beginning and you get to see this commercial development coming in behind your new home, chances are more houses are gonna get built and they're gonna sell for more money, which means you are gonna get more appreciation and more money in your pocket as soon as you get ready to sell. So we're standing in South Park, Charlotte right now in front of the Copper Builders model home. This thing is unreal. And chances are, if you've driven down Fairview Road, you've seen this model home and you've seen all of the houses that they've built down the street here. Stefan with Copper is going to actually take us through this model home and talk to us all about what Copper can do for you. So let's go check it out. So when it comes to customizing a new construction home, sometimes you're going to be able to customize everything you could ever imagine, like you can see back here. And on the flip side, you're going to also see builders who are only allowing you to maybe pick out a couple different features or a couple different colors. And then on the far end of that spectrum, you're going to have builders who don't let you touch anything in the house. No matter how much money you try and pay, you're not changing anything. So lucky for you guys, I'm standing here with Stefan Nemens with Copper Builders, which is a phenomenal local builder. And he's going to kind of go through what the customization options can look like, at least with Copper.
Yeah, no problem. So we actually do both, right? Okay. So in terms of providing, a fully designed house with everything ready for you, or completely full custom. But we always start here in our design room. So this is a big design room, and as big as it is, we still
bigger than most houses.
We still can't house all of the tile choices and all the countertop choices. But we do, like you see behind us, we have tile, we have countertops, we have cabinets, we have appliances in here, we have hardwood flooring, we have carpet, we have plumbing, we have exterior products. And the good part about that, starting here at least, is we know the price of all these things.
Sure.
Right. So how we do it is we'll start with basically, it's about a 16-page spec sheet. Hey, here's everything we include. Here's your allowances, right? And we can tell you within this design room, hey, here's what you can get for your money. Now the cool part is, it's custom. So if there's not a tile here you like, we have access to many tile places where we can find what you want. Okay. This is probably a fraction of the countertops that are available in the market, but it's a great place to start. And so,
I see there's even more tile.
Oh, there's drawers and drawers of selections. And so, but by no means do you have to stay here. This is just a great starting point because we know what these things cost. And that's the hardest part about the kind of the customer part of the design process, is if you walked into, let's say, doll tile, there's 1,000 tiles.
Right.
And how
just for a backsplash.
Just for a backsplash, right? And so that can be very overwhelming. And we're happy to go there. But if we can start here and understand, okay, here's what these things cost, then we can go as custom as you want. Or you can stay in this design room if you would rather have less options. Okay. And there are plenty of people that are happy this is here because they don't want that overwhelming amount of choices to sort through.
Now, what is, on the flip side of that, what does it look like if someone were buying, like if you guys are building something, like in what scenario is it full spec, or where
it's a great question.
Gets no decisions are being made?
So great question. So I'll give you an example. So right now we are building a spec home in Ballantyne Country Club.
Okay.
Super prominent location. It's 1.85 million, cul-de-sac lot, beautiful. So we've designed the plan. We're about to start. So the plan is set. Can't change the plan. That we have fully designed a portfolio of finishes to go in there, but we haven't started construction yet. So the answer to the question is, yeah, you can go in there and you can tailor that pretty much the whole design package. Kind of depends on where you're at in construction.
Right.
Pre-construction, yeah, we are totally open, to looking at that with folks. Further along you get into construction, we have to start ordering things, the more limited those choices get.
Okay, so there's a little bit of lead time, and it really just depends on the builder, depends on what they're trying to do with the house, and it depends on what time or like where you're at in the build.
The answer to that question with us is it depends, right? It really depends because we don't want to reorder or delay if we don't have to. So, but we are always open to the conversation.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you got it.
Appreciate it. So a lot of buyers think that it's not necessary to have a buyer's agent representing them when they're buying new construction because maybe the builder rep is really nice or they seem to have high integrity. I will tell you what, it is more important to have a buyer's agent representing a buyer in new construction than any other transaction in real estate. And why is that? That representative, that salesperson that you talked to when you walked into the model home works for the builder. They represent the builder. They represent the fiduciary interests of the builder. They may be a really nice person, but at the end of the day, they are employed by the builder and not by you. You need to have someone who is representing you so that you're not up against a professional salesperson and a builder who's got a lot of money with a lot of good lawyers and a lot of very ironclad contracts that are not gonna look out for you. You need to make sure that you have someone in your corner that's looking out for your best interest, because as a buyer's agent, our fiduciary interest is for you as the buyer. Again, these builder representatives, some of them I am great friends with. You've met 2 of them today. We're gonna be doing a lot of new construction tours throughout this channel. And that actually reminds me, be sure to stick around and check out some more of our videos, especially around new construction. We're gonna be doing some more tours with different builders. We're gonna be going through some other new construction that's being built in the middle of the process, so we can show you what it looks like and things to look for when you're actually under contract on new construction. So make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel so that you can continue getting more videos, because that's going to be really important for you to understand not only what's going on in Charlotte, North Carolina, but just overall building and buying new construction. Now, back to talking about the importance of having an agent. I'll give you a good example. About 5 years ago, I had a buyer who's bought and built about 4 or 5 houses, and they were buying a home and they were working with a lender who strongly recommended that they reached out to an agent. And that agent ended up being me. This buyer ended up having to have their closing pushed back 6 times. That's 6 times having to change their movers. That's 6 times having to get ready to prep their house to sell that they got delayed. That's 6 times having to change when they were having utilities scheduled to start. That's 6 times telling their family and telling their friends that they're excited to close on whatever day that got moved again. 6 times. If they did not have an agent, they did not have me working for them, they would not have gotten a lot of relief on the additional costs for extending their loan, the additional costs for changing the movers every single time. Some of their inspection fees were able to get waived. So you can see having an agent really helped them in the sense that they were able to negotiate and have a little bit more leverage when the builder continuously had to push closing. Now, does that mean every single time that closing gets delayed that you're just gonna get all kinds of free stuff from the builder? Like, absolutely not. But this was excessive. And it's fine if the builder pushes closing once or twice, but when they were failing inspections and all kinds of things were happening and 6 closings got pushed back, or 6 closing dates got pushed back, that was when the buyer started getting very frustrated, and we were able to get the builder to make it right for them. It is so important to have an agent representing you. And again, not just for when things go wrong, but also so that when you're walking around and you're talking to the sales rep and or the builder, the project manager, and they say something that you think feels a little weird, a good buyer's agent will be able to tell you if that's normal or not. Is that something that's very common to see or to hear from a builder, or is it something that they've never really heard before? And we're gonna look into that a little bit more. The other thing, the last piece, and I'll leave you with this when it comes to having an agent, most builder representatives will tell you that you don't need to have a third-party inspection. And I'm here to tell you that there is a 99.99999% chance that if you hire a third-party inspector at pre-drywall and pre-closing, they are going to find things that the builder didn't find, the quality control person didn't find, the home warranty person didn't find, and that you didn't find when you were walking around the home. The best thing that you can do, the best money you can spend while you're under contract building a home, is for an inspector that's a third-party inspector who can go in at pre-drywall and pre-closing. Because also, once you get that inspection report, you can send it over to the builder, and 9 times out of 10, they're fixing the things that that inspector found. So again, having an agent, you will be advised to get a third-party inspection, which may find something that would get covered up for decades that you would never know is actually an issue until it's too late. So this is why having an agent will be super important, because they are going to advise you on getting things done, such as third-party inspections that a builder may not advise you on doing, because the county's coming out to inspect the home, they're inspecting the home and walking the home every single day, and they think it looks good, and usually it is. Usually it is. But those inspectors will find something that you don't want to become a problem years down the road when it's too late and you can't see it. So make sure that you get a third-party inspector, and make sure you have an agent who is going to advise you on doing that. So if you're ready to explore everything that Charlotte has to offer, be sure to check out some of our other videos and drop a comment below if you have any questions about this video. We're always sharing new tips about the Charlotte, North Carolina real estate market, and we would love to help you find the perfect home in this amazing city. Our contact information is in the description below, so be sure to write down our phone number and email so that you can text us or email us to set up that introduction call. That way we can hop on Zoom and develop a plan for you. So what are you waiting for? Let's start your Charlotte adventure today.